Talk about tourism in South Carolina, and so many people think about Myrtle Beach and the Grand Strand, the beautiful white beaches of South Carolina, or the golfing paradise that's all around the coastal region. Well, today we're going to talk to you about another type of tourism, agritourism and agritainment in South Carolina. It's a growing niche industry in the state and one that is adding to the state's economy.
You're going to see the Niven's farmhouse, and that house is over 100 years old.
That's right. All those pick-your-own farms, corn mazes, orchards, and other non-traditional agricultural venues across South Carolina ultimately contribute nearly $20 million a year to the state through the process of multiplied economics. The last time agritourism statistics were recorded in South Carolina by the U.S. Department of Agriculture was during the 2007 agriculture census. At that time, the state had close to 400 agritourism operations that earned a collective $8.1 million. Many close to the industry suspect that number has increased since then, even in the midst of an economic downturn.
Good job, Mia!
USDA's Census of Agriculture officially defines agritourism as recreational services such as hunting, fishing, farm or wine tours, hay rides, etc. Others use the term agritainment.
Whether you call it agritainment or agritourism, it simply means programming activities for visitors in agricultural settings.
Professor Taylor DeMont is director of the Britton Center for Resort Tourism at Coastal Carolina University, near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Connecting people directly with agriculture through tourism is a niche of a larger industry known as rural tourism, something that's being strategically examined by South Carolina's Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism through a long-range project to identify or create unique tourism venues in each of the state's 8 tourism districts, beginning with the districts furthest from the coast.
In each of the 5 non-coastal regions, and even in the 3 coastal regions, there are significant rural areas, and the product development recommendations that we've brought forward, based upon history and culture on the one hand, but also activity tourism, nature and the environment, are stitched, inextricably linked into everything that we're saying.
Peter McNulty is the project manager for South Carolina's tourism study conducted by Tourism Development International based in Dublin, Ireland. He says agritourism offers key drivers to attract tourists to South Carolina.
And there are 2 key drivers that are important and have to be taken on board. And one is the growing interest in heritage and culture on the one hand, and the other is interest in nature and the environment and activities. And if you look at those 2 opportunities, heritage and culture on one hand, and nature and the environment and activities on the other hand, you can see that there are a wealth of potential opportunities in the state of South Carolina.
And so this is simply one of the ways. Agritainment, like other types of entertainment, is a way that destinations can differentiate themselves so that they're not relegated to commodity status. They don't have to compete solely on the basis of price alone.
Most of the state's agritourism operations are locally owned and operated by family farmers. When we come back, we'll tell you what makes their operations so successful. This time of year, as the days grow shorter and most farmers spend their time with the harvest, people plan their adventures around South Carolina's agritourism venues, which range from pumpkin patches, petting zoos, hay rides, pick-your-own operations, and much more. Each of these is owned and operated by family farmers working to supplement their farm income by reaching out to the non-farming public as a means of providing fun and helping educate others about South Carolina agriculture. One of the goals of the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism study is to strengthen the collective voice of these smaller operations.
Predominantly, tourism across the globe is a mom-and-pop business. And so therefore, because of that small-scale nature and the highly fragmented nature, it up to now it has lacked a strong voice and it has lacked a single voice. And we're saying that tourism, in the same way that a county or a region would plan for, rightly so, providing investment resources to plan for factory development. And we're saying that this is an industry that needs to be taken seriously and is worthy of investment.
Agritourism venues contain natural elements of success as long as they're well-run operations. And that is what McNulty refers to as differentiation from the other tourist venues.
Ultimately, successful destinations will be ones that understand what the consumer is looking for. And really, if you think, I ask people very often to think about their own vacation experiences and what resonates with them, what is memorable. And people are looking for new experiences, aren't they? They're looking for memorable experience, and they're looking to, when they go to a destination, to identify something that is distinctive and authentic and unique. You know, if they don't want to see Disney repeated in another region, they associate Disney with Orlando, Florida. Okay, so that's a simple example. So what we would be saying to a county or a region that we've been working with, listen, if you've got something that nobody else has, then you work with that. You may not value it, or you might be used to it, but others will. And the reason why that is the case is because it's authentic, distinctive and unique. So it's the key to success for tourism destinations is what we call differentiation. How do you differentiate yourselves from run-of-the-mill destinations? And flip that over to answer your question from the consumer's perspective. I think consumers are looking for a new angle on things. They're looking for destinations that can showcase what they have that is different.
Something else agritourism or agritainment operations do well is they build and develop relationships with their patrons, which keeps people returning year after year.
And as a tourism operator, your goal is to build a relationship with them and to turn them into not just satisfied visitors, but fans and friends of your operation and your destination. And the way to do that, really the only way to do that is to give them something that they didn't expect for the dollars that they're paying. That is to help them be more successful than they expected in building those relationships. And participative experiences and agricultural settings for all the members of the group is one way that you can do that, or that you can put them at least in a setting where that's possible.
As your travels bring you to South Carolina, make sure to check out the wealth of agritourism venues which our family farmers and others have to offer. You won't be disappointed.